Hi everybody, my name is Hannah and this is Pepper and Pine, and today I have a live tutorial lesson to share with you. We're going to be doing an egg dissection. This is part of our bird unit study. I've got this book here called An Egg is Quiet by Diana Aston and Sylvia Long, and there is this really beautiful watercolored image of an egg in here, and I'm going to be using that as inspiration for this project. So here is this kind of side profile of an egg, and we are going to be dissecting an egg. We have just a regular chicken egg, we have one that we've put in vinegar, and then we have one that's hard boiled. I'm gonna go ahead and examine the insides and then watercolor this and label it, and maybe do a little research and add a couple trivia questions or some narrations to this project. Okay, so I'm going to put this aside for a minute and show you the materials that we're going to use for this project. I've got my Fabriano watercolor paper. This is 140 pounds. This is thicker than the watercolor paper that we typically use. And you can see and hear that it is quite thick. I'm going to be using this from, I don't want to say from now on entirely, but at least for the time being, we're going to be using this watercolor paper because it's a lot thicker. It's going to make our finished project really nice, because these are going to be some trivia cards that we're going to add to our homeschool part of our opening activities. And it's going to be a great way to review the material that we've learned, and also it gives us the space to do some watercoloring, but at the same time it's not too big and too overwhelming since we don't have a main lesson book for this unit. For this project, I also have our distress inks. You can find all of the materials that we're using for this project on the blog post that accompanies this video. It's on my website at pepperandpine.com. That link is down in the description box below. Okay, so these distress inks are actually ink pads, and I'm going to be adding them, or rather putting them onto this little non-porous surface here. This actually is just like a little plate for our die cutting machine. You could use anything that's non-porous in order to get these inks to be usable as watercolors. So these are distress inks, and so you can use them as an ink pad, or in my case, and I learned this by observing scrapbookers who would watercolor using these inks, is that they would just squish them down onto a non-porous surface and then you can use them. What's great about it is that you're not adding too much ink, so a little goes a long way. Like, I've had some of these for years and they're still good. And so we're gonna use them as watercolors, and you can do that with the ink the way they are now, and then when they dry permanent. So you don't have a ton of time to work with them the way you would with other watercolor mediums, but I do really love the color range that you get with these inks, and I also like that they dry permanent. So I'm just going to do a little tester here of the colors that we've got. So I've got some water, and I've got a variety of watercolor brushes, or just any kind of paint brushes, and these actually have synthetic bristles, and they were super inexpensive from a local craft store, and they turn out to be really awesome. Like, they're some of our favorite watercolor or any kind of brush that we've used. You can see that we have not treated them as kindly, but we've also had them for over 10 years, and you can see that the bristles themselves have held up really well. These ones we were more careful with, or we just didn't leave them in water. This is what happens when you leave them in water. Let me just show you what that looks like. Here are some of our Stockmar watercolors, and I've just left them inside, which is not the best practice. It's not the best way to hold on to or to care for your materials, but that's what happens sometimes. So don't do that. Now, we're not using our Stockmar watercolors for this project because I find that the distress inks give us a better range of natural colors that work really well with our science units, and in fact all of our units. So the first thing I'm going to do is just wet my paintbrush and take a little bit of this color and do a little tester here. Now, I don't typically do this, but I do want to make sure that we're getting the colors that we need for this project, because we're not going to be using a whole lot of watercolor, because an egg doesn't have that many colors. And so I've just pulled a few colors that I think will work really well for this. You can see the colors for the yolk and then to outline. And then I'm using this really pale blue called Weathered Wood for the white part of the egg. Okay, so let me move all of this stuff aside and let's get started with our egg dissection. Ew. Okay, we've brought up our eggs. We have the one that was in vinegar, we have the warm one that's been hard-boiled, and we have the one that's fresh out of the refrigerator. So we're gonna start with the one that has the vinegar on it because it has a very strong odor and we kind of want to get done with this one. Okay, so we did this one a little bit differently than, I want to be really careful because it's been in the vinegar for about 48 hours, I want to say, and we put it in halfway and you can see that the part that was under the vinegar got completely dissolved, and the parts that are on my hand are part of the shell. And I know my son isn't really interested in touching all this, so I'm gonna do this. I really hope it doesn't break in my hand. Okay, but I want to show you that the shell part just is popped right off because the part that connected it to the rest of the shell has completely dissolved. So this part, and I think only the edges are kind of soft. The rest is still hard, okay? All right, so on here, you can really clearly see the membrane that separates the shell from the inside, and the air pocket, the air sac, I believe would have been right here, but we're gonna be able to notice that a lot more in the hard-boiled egg. So doing this a couple different ways allows you to really understand the dynamics of an egg. Now, what I know is that no matter how much you shake an egg, you're never going to damage what's on the inside. Well, I don't want to say never, but most likely never going to damage what's on the inside. It's definitely not going to be a scrambled egg. Okay, so that's this one. All right, so I know you're not really interested in doing this, but if you would like to just feel it. Okay, come closer, and if you want to just touch it.
Oh, that feels weird.
Yeah. Do you want to squeeze it?
No.
Okay. Can just see how if this was left in the vinegar much longer, even this would start to get so thin that even just a little bit of touching it would cause it to just open up. Something else that I want to point out is that the shell doesn't actually fit perfectly anymore because the egg has actually, would you mind giving me a paper towel, please? Because I want to compare the eggs, because this is actually absorbed liquid because it is larger than, thank you, sweetie. It is larger than what the egg started out as. You can see that's quite a bit larger. Now, had we weighed the eggs to begin with, we could actually measure exactly how much was absorbed, but I didn't do that. And these are from like the same box of same crate of eggs. So you can see that it has expanded quite a bit. Okay, now it's time to break this one open.
Oh no.
I know you don't want to do it. Okay, but this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to pierce it so that we can just kind of open. I don't want it to splatter all over the place. Okay, so we are going to just use this little straight pin to pop it open. Oh, and I really just don't want it to splatter everywhere. Ooh. Oh no! All right, so you can see that, oh, that is super cool. It looks like it got, oh my goodness, this is super cool. Okay, can you come in a little bit closer? This is like more jelly-like. It has actually sealed itself. That is super cool. Let's see if we can make another hole and see if the same thing will happen. Oh no, it's all like because the first time it really kind of,
Try lower down.
A lot of the liquid came out. Okay, this is super interesting. I'm making a bunch of holes. Oh, that one kind of gushed. Okay, so that's a lot more gushy up there, but all of these, it's as if it's just kind of jelly-like in consistency, whereas these ones up here are a lot more fluid. And
try at the very top, maybe.
What'd you say? At the very top? Okay. No. That is really interesting. I wonder if we can get all the liquid out, but keep this membrane. Oops, that one is really gushing. I wonder if we can do it and then keep the yolk inside. Let's see if we can do that. I'm just gonna poke a bunch of holes. You can really see the egg is kind of deflating at this point. It's really mushy. There's a lot of liquid on the plate. Let's just keep going because it's pretty challenging trying to get all that liquid out. And I don't want to completely tear it open. Let's see if any more, yep, more of the liquid is coming out. Okay. It's as if like all of those holes are getting sealed pretty quickly. I'm getting a little bit impatient. Oh, there we go. Wow, look at that. Okay. So I think a lot of what the liquid that came out first, my guess is that it was probably the vinegar. Can you come up a little bit higher on top? There we go. And the part that was a lot more jelly-like was probably actually just the white of the egg. And then you can see these two things here. We're going to take a closer look at them. That is the protein cord. And then you can see that the yolk is pretty mushy, but it's not breaking. Okay. All right. So let's try the other egg. Go ahead. We're just going to crack it open. Well done. Okay. All right. So you know what I notice here is that there's also kind of a liquidy part, and then there is the more jelly part, and we will still need the eggshell in a minute. But that's kind of interesting because in the previous egg, I kind of thought that maybe the liquidy part had been the vinegar that had absorbed, and I think that you can see the protein cord a lot better. Sorry about the lighting. This is not gonna work so well. Okay, so there's the protein cord right over there. And then the yolk. Okay, so we are gonna put this one aside. We wanna observe all of them, but we're gonna put this one aside for a minute and try the hard-boiled egg. So let's put that one over here. This feels weird. Okay, so I also want I want to show you the inside of the egg. Can you try to pretend to reassemble the egg for a minute? Can you tell me what side is smaller towards the top and larger I don't really know how else to describe it. So this is, we're just going to call this the top of the egg. So if we pull this off, then you'll notice that the interior membrane looks like it goes almost completely to the edge of the egg. Okay, you can see a little bit of the white or the liquid stuff there. So but with yeah, look at that. What is that?
The air.
Yeah, the air pocket. And you can see that it's pretty substantial as far as the size. And the air pocket is between the membrane here and the shell. So that's quite a bit of an air pocket there. And this is significant. Do you know why?
So the egg can breathe? Or the chicken can breathe?
So this piece right here, when the chicken or, you know, the bird is going to hatch, what it does is that it pecks through this part right here using its egg tooth. And then that little bit of oxygen there, or that little bit of air there, is what the bird first breathes. That's his first breath right in there before he's even hatched, and that fills up the lungs, and then he pecks his way through. Isn't that amazing? That's the air that he breathes. Now, the whole egg itself is porous, and so gases can transfer from the outside of the egg inside, and it can transfer through the membrane. To the best of my knowledge, that's how it works. Okay, so let's go ahead and crack open this egg. Do you want to rinse your hands, or are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay, me too.
Way better. Oh, right. Nice and warm.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too hot because it's been cooling for a little while, and it should be completely hard. Yay. So what you can do is, if you're removing the shell but leaving the membrane on it, that's fine. If you can do that, we're going to be breaking the membrane anyway. But if you do that, then you can really feel how thin that membrane is, because we'll peel it away from the egg. Okay, so this is, oops, really important, because you can clearly see the air pocket that's at the bottom of the egg. You can really see how the membrane is separated from the outside of the shell, and all of that is the air pocket. You'll notice that there's no air inside the egg itself. It's all between the shell and the membrane of the egg. Well done. And you haven't even torn the membrane, so that's really great. So let's see if we can continue taking the shell off. Yeah, so yep, really nice.
Like,
just
yeah, the membrane is like puffed out.
Well, no,
You're not puffed out.
No, the membrane wouldn't be puffed out. It would be tighter. Look at that. Hold on, let me. You can see that membrane just kind of moving along, like I'm moving along the egg. Okay, there you go. Well done. Okay, so the membrane tore a little bit. Then you can see how thin it is. Look at that. You can even see my fingerprints through the membrane. Okay, put that right here so we can observe it at the end.
So I managed to get the membrane.
Wow, very, very nice. Yeah, keep that aside. We'll definitely take a closer look at that. And the egg is just about done. I brought you a knife so that you can cut it in half, and for, yeah, let's cut it this way. Well done. So this is something, oh, look how cute our egg, it's not perfectly round right there. This is something that you would know if you did a lot of cooking in the kitchen with eggs and making deviled eggs.
I do.
But you do you notice? Yeah, do you notice that the yolk is towards the bottom? Now, honestly, I don't know if suppose we did this project again, and somehow we were able to keep the egg this way in the hot water. I wonder if the yolk would end up closer to the top of the egg. I wonder if the egg, when it's boiling...
I think the egg was pretty, like, flat.
Was it? I think it was on its side, actually, when it was boiling. Side, I don't think it boiled like this. I think, you know, the physics would have it boil like this. And so I think that the yolk is always closer to the bottom near the air sac.
We could try to make it the other way.
We could try making the other way. That would make a really interesting experiment. So you can see that the yolk has this yellow color, but...
There's a dark color around it.
It does. It has a dark color around it. But look at the difference in the color between the cooked egg and the fresh egg. So this does turn a lighter color. Look at that. Then you can see how clearly white this is Although when we draw it, we'll do with a pale blue. And then the outside of the egg yolk has kind of a darker discoloration. And then what we'll try to do is find where the protein cord is, which I don't see it right now. Do you see it on yours?
I think it goes on the bottom, right?
Maybe you can't see it because it's been cooked. But you can definitely see it here. That is the protein cord. I don't see the other one, but it did show in the diagram that it had two. But since I only see one here, we're only going to draw or watercolor one. Okay. All right, so we are going to take a break at this point, and we're going to reconvene a little bit later to do the written portion of this lesson. Okay.
So we'll do that one next.
We'll do that one next. Do you see how this actually split here?
So you're gonna do what's it called?
Yeah.
Like 2 eggshells?
2 eggshells. So we want
That's gonna be.
eggshells. Okay.
Well, it has eggshell color.
So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna use
like this, right?
this.
It's gonna be sort of.
This is what I'm gonna
like
do.
A jagged oval.
Yeah.
And white in the middle.
Yeah. So leave it white. Leave it.
I'll leave it white, and then I'm gonna use the white.
Okay.
Just to get an excellent color. Maybe a sharpener. Do you have a sharpener?
I don't have a sharpener.
This one doesn't fit in there.
So to conclude this lesson, we're going to do some art as well as some narration. And because we have been doing these Professor Noggins inspired trivia cards, I thought it would be nice just to continue adding to the stack that we've already made for this bird unit by doing a couple of additional cards that represent this egg dissection that we did. And in the end, I end up doing 3 cards and my son does 2. You're only going to see one of them here. And he does his with color pencil and it looked okay. It was still kind of a struggle for such a simple drawing, just an egg. It's actually took a little bit of time and a little bit of effort. And I actually had to start mine twice. And then once I got done with this one, I decided to go ahead and do all the eggs that we did. So I did the hard-boiled one as well as one more that just showed the whole anatomy of the egg. And my son just opted to do one, which was fine because I was doing more than we actually needed to. We are going to be doing our trivia questions on the back. You could do a little bit of narration if you chose to. I think any kind of writing that you produce to go along with the lesson is going to be valuable. So I'm just going to go ahead and label this up, and I do not have the actual footage of us working on this. We took this project to the schoolroom, but I'm going to show you what the process looks like when we're actually getting ready to do the written content for a lesson. So I'm going to refer back to the book that we have been using for this lesson, which is called An Egg is Quiet. And I'm going to draw some questions out of the book based on the content of the book. I also went to other resources. So I'm only showing you one book here, but we actually used a number of resources from this unit in order to come up with the questions. You could also just do a little bit of narration if you wanted to. I'm going to laminate these using my Black & Decker laminating sheets. These are 5mm sheets. We're also using really heavy watercolor paper, which means that these are going to be really durable in the end. I'm using my Mink machine to laminate them. It's really fast and it has 5 temperature settings, but it is so much more expensive than a regular laminating machine. So unless you're a scrapbooking enthusiast, I would just say stick with a regular laminating machine. Next, I'm going to use my Color Pillar Pro in order to trim down these cards, and I'm going to show you the final results here. This is my son's. He did it again, actually using chalk pastels so that they would match the rest of his set. I did mine using the watercolors, and I went ahead and I added a number of questions and answers on the back. You can find all of these on my website at the blog post that accompanies this video, and you can find that link down in the description box below. Okay, so we had a really involved unit for this bird unit, and if you want to check out some of the other projects and tutorials for this unit, you can tap on the screen right now. And don't forget that if you want to see what our homeschool looks like on a daily basis, you can find me on Instagram at Pepper and Pine.